So you want to build a quadcopter, not just any quadcopter, but an FPV freestyle quadcopter. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you just how to do it. This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to correct the channel mapping in a radio. So what I did initially in the smooth operator was I had bound the receiver to my radio through the internal module, and when I did that, the channel mapping was all wrong in this radio, and it was because of the way that I set this up in here. And I'm gonna recreate it. Went through this one time already, and I've deleted the model and I've started all over. And the reason I'm doing this is, let's say if you're new and you have a new radio and a new model that you had just built and you were trying to set up a quad, you may run into this issue. So I wanted to do a quick tutorial on how to get it all up and running. When I initially set this up, I had just ran through all the normal settings, just kind of selected it really quickly and moved on and just run through all this stuff and didn't really give it too much thought, thinking I was just setting up a model and getting it all done. So here it shows my throttle's channel 3, my roll's channel 1, my pitch is channel 2, and my yaw's channel 4, and that should be it. Once I have everything set up, and there we have a new model. So now we have our model. So now I press the return, you see it's model 9. Then I want to go into the model page. So I'm going to name this. You just press your jog wheel and just scroll through. If you want to change the size of the lettering, you just long press and see it automatically does it. So I've named this one Smooth 5. And I've already showed how to bind the FreeSky receiver to this radio. So again, here in the receiver tab, we can see that my quad is flipping out, and it's because the channel mapping is all wrong in the radio. When I move the throttle position up to center, it steadies out the quad, and you can see it's just kind of flying away on its own. It's drifting away. We need to correct all this, and how we're going to do this is through the actual channel mapping in the radio. It's a little bit tedious sometimes trying to figure out, which one's doing what. So right now, my throttle is on the actual elevator channel, and we can see it labeled by A, E, R, T, or the pitch channel. So what I need to do is I'll go into my radio. I'm going to page over, and right here, this is my channel mapping, and we can see the inputs A, E, T, R, and right here we're seeing A, E, R, T. And this is A, E, T, R. As far as the channel mapping I have selected right here, this is the default that Emu Flight, most of your configurators like Betaflight or whatever, it's going to give you a default channel map. So what I need to do is actually get this channel corrected. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to long press, I'm going to hit edit, and then whenever I select select the source. And you see it moving here in my radio. It says throttle. And then I look right here, I see the throttle moving. But now I also see the pitch or the elevator. It's moving as well. So I got to correct that too. So that's good. Now we have the correct channel selected. I'm going to rename this one to throttle. That way it shows up correct in my radio. And just like that, we have that channel corrected. Now, we return. See, now we have 2 throttle channels. So let's go on down to this channel. And it's saying that this is the elevator channel. Let's see. So we want to yaw. The yaw channel is correct, which is the rudder. So we don't need to change channel 4. It's correct. But we do need to change the pitch and the roll, because the pitch is actually the roll, and I don't have anything at all for the roll. So I need to make this one my pitch channel. So I'm going to long press this. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to go to the source. I'm going to highlight it. And now I have it corrected. Aileron, and you see it says aileron, and we also see it moving the aileron in the configurator. So that's good. And we'll rename this one to aileron so it shows up correct in my radio. So now we have 2 corrected channels. We know our rudder's right, or our yaw. So now we need to correct the pitch channel. See, I'm moving my stick, but in the configurator, there's no pitch. So we've narrowed it down, and it must be channel 3. So we're going to long press, and click edit. We're going to come down to source, and then we'll move it, and there we have it. We can see the pitch working in the configurator. So now I have all my channel mappings in order and squared away. And just real quick, of course we're going to rename it, that way it shows up correct in the radio. And now all my channels are correct. Now's the time you can go in the inputs tab and you can set up a switch if you want to. And it's just real quick and easy. Highlight one. I want to make switch H right here. I want to make this one my auxiliary 1 channel for my arming channel. Now we can see there's nothing working in the configurator for auxiliary 1. We're going to name this one arm. So now we see switch H, it's there, but it's not working in the configurator yet. So we need to page over to our mixes, mixer tab. We can see our channel mixes right here, TAER. Everything is working correctly now. We're going to come down to 5. You want to go to source, and now we see it working in the configurator. So we're going to name this one ARM. And we can see it's labeled ARM there. And we can also see that everything is working. Roll, aileron, pitch, elevator, yaw, and throttle. Everything's working correctly in the GUI. So I'm talking correctly to the radio. And I also have an ARM switch programmed. And you can set up many other switches the same way as I just did in this radio. Many of your other OpenTX Free Sky radios, Radio Master, Radio Master, all the other ones are probably going to be pretty much the same way. EdgeTX, OpenTX, they're all running pretty much about the same type of firmware in them. So they're going to be quite similar. So now you can see that the center of my sticks aren't correct. This is the first time I've really had one that was this terrible. But this right here is an easy fix as well. So while we're in our radio, we want to page over. Right here's our outputs. So we know channel 1 is our throttle, and it's labeled TAER. And we can see it working in the radio as we move it. So we know which ones we're moving. So right here's channel 4, which is my yaw or rudder. You can see it moving. But in the configurator, we're showing 1519 for the actual stick center. And how I'm going to correct this, because I've already calibrated my sticks inside the radio. If you haven't done that, I would do that first. It's really quick. You really need to kind of know your radio. If you'd like a breakdown of that, I can show you how to do that. But right here, we want to get these center sticks showing centered in this. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to scroll all the way over here to PPM center. And as I roll the jog wheel back for the throttle, you can see in the configurator that it's actually moving PPM center each little click. We want to get it to 1500. So we've centered the stick now. And now we can see in the configurator that I have a stable quad here. And it reacts to my stick commands as I'm telling it to roll, pitch forward, pitch backwards, and I can see my throttle's working correctly. And I've set up a switch. Now we've successfully set up a model in our radio for our drone. We have all our channels mapped correctly. We fixed the spazzing out quad in the configurator, so we'll be ready to move on. So after configuring the receiver and getting the channel map and all that stuff squared away in the radio, I got curious and wanted to see how bad off my signal wires were. So I ran a quick motor test in the actual configurator by selecting this icon right here, or that by selecting this switch right here. Make sure when you do this and you actually put power to a drone that you have the props removed. Safe practice. I've seen my nephew, he was slammed to the bone on his knuckle because of these things spinning up. It's pretty serious. But I wanted to show you guys this real quick. See if we can't zoom in on it. That way you can see. This should be motor 2, but instead it's actually right now the flight controller thinks it's telling motor 4 to spin when actually motor 2 is, and that's because I just slapped these wires in there. I'm going to correct all this in the command line interface. But what I got to notice, and let's see if I can zoom in, as I spun the motors, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. See that center shaft right there? It's wobbling, and it's really bad when you see it in person. So I have a bent motor bell or motor shaft on motor 2 here. That's no good. So yeah, a bent motor. Go figure. But I got some extra motors in here, some older ones that are used. I'm gonna slap them on this drone. I'm not gonna do that in a video. I'm gonna go ahead and get them swapped out. That way I can prepare for finishing this thing up. So next we'll be putting on the FPV camera, and we'll be soldering up the video transmitter, and then going in the configurator, getting it all configured, getting our signal wires resource mapped correctly. I'm gonna take this thing out for a test flight. This is your poor boy. Peace out.